Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Thursday. Bitcoin's actually up towards the end of the day, but the miners were down for most of the day, except for after hours. They actually started to pull up. We'll take a look at that as well. But we got Hut 8 provided their January numbers, along with DMG and CleanSpark. So right now we'll cover Hut 8 and DMG, and then in the next video we'll do CleanSpark on that one. So if you guys want to check that out, obviously subscribe, helps me out. But as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Don't fall for scams. Spam posts get reported, deleted. I'm invested in the following companies and coins, just for full disclosure. So let's take a look at Bitcoin here really quick. We'll look at the miners as well. But right now, here's what I'm looking at. It's looking like a downtrend in Bitcoin based on the 1 hour chart. I'm looking at the RSI here at the peaks. And last time we were at this peak, we were basically a day ago, February 2nd. So actually, what is that? We are in February 3rd, February 2nd. So that's on the 1 hour chart. So we're basically 20 some odd hours ago. We were up here. We've obviously come back down here. So the way that I want to look at this is when this is happening, we're possibly going to be going down further until this reverses, where we get another couple peaks, where between peaks and the price is going up. That will be kind of like a reversal trend for us. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But right now, Bitcoin's at 37,226. It ended yesterday or today basically, at a close of 37,329. So it was actually in the green for the day. If we look at it here, we can see here on the time frame that we did end up 37,329. So now we're actually down 0.4, but we were up basically 1% on the 24-hour time frame, which is a good sign. So that's good. We'll look at Ethereum as well. Ethereum ended up on the green as well. I haven't seen any news that's propelling it other than Google reporting that they're going to be possibly doing some work with blockchain technology. So I think that might be kind of what's driving it a little bit. So we'll see how this plays out. But right now we are still, we're still in a downtrend until this gets reversed. We can look at the peaks here, and we can see that we're still in this kind of downtrend until we break kind of through it here. I think we're going to be still kind of waiting on it to reverse. We could be just in an accumulation phase as well, so something to be mindful of as well. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin's hash rate really quick. Bitcoin hash rate has kind of flatlined here a little bit. It's at 190 million terahash right now. On the 7-day average, on the raw values, if we look at that, it is bouncing basically between 200 million and to the lows. Well, the lows are now like 189 million. So we are gyrating between those two. We'll see how that plays out. And if we look at the miners' revenue, we can see that the miners' revenue continues to go down because the hash rate is increasing, and obviously with the price of Bitcoin where it's at. All right, so let's take a look at the stocks here, see how they did today. So Argo was up just 0.25% basically to 94 cents. Bitfarms was down 6.5% to 340, but it's actually up 6.75% in the after hours to 36.30, which is surprising. And I think that's because Bitcoin kind of ended up a little bit on the green day. CleanSpark was down 6.11% to 630, and then it's up in the after hours 5.71% to 666. And Core Scientific was down 2.81% to $9, and it's up just 0.5% roughly to 905. DigiHost was down 5% to 378 and is up now 4.5% to 395. DMG was down 3.43% to 43 cents. Hive was down 5.58% to 186, and it is actually up higher in the after hours than and then it was down, so it's up 6.45% to 198. And then we got Hut 8 was down 5.09% to 578, and it is up 5.19% to 608. Iris Energy was actually up on the day, 0.08% to 1250, minor increase there. Marathon was down 7.86% to 2121, and it is up 4.81% to 2223 right now in the after hours. And Mawson was down 5.28% to 502, and Riot was down 5.01% to 1479, and it is up actually 4.53% to 1546 in the after hours. So not a lot of news going on with those guys. Obviously, we know that Riot has been shutting down some of the miners because of the cold snap that's been going on down in Texas area. So they've been shutting those miners down. for that. We don't know how long those miners are going to be shut down, whether it's only a couple of days or not. But when we find out, we'll let you guys know. All right, so let's get into Hut 8 here. So Hut 8 mining holds 5,826 self-mined Bitcoin in reserve as of January 31, 2022, and provides monthly production updates for January. So if we look at the numbers here, mining production highlights for January 2022, 308 Bitcoin were mined, resulting in an average production rate of 9.93 Bitcoin per day, which is good. 100% of the self-mined Bitcoin for the month of January were deposited into custody, consistent with Hut 8's HODL strategy. So this is a little bit different strategy than what CleanSpark has. We'll get into that in the next video. And then obviously total Bitcoin balance held in reserve is 5,826 as of January 31, 2022. They have installed operating capacity current sits at 2.36 exahash, a 17% increase from December 31, 2021. My only question is, does this also include their GPU miners, which we know that they've sometimes reported as being part of their total hash rate capacity at the moment. So something that I'm interested to find out if that's the case. We'll get into some of the details that I have on the spreadsheet here. And then operation updates for January. During the January 2022, the company installed 6,317 micro BT M30S and M31S Plus miners while retiring the older fleet of BitFlurry Clarks. So we've taken those out as well from the spreadsheet. And then Hut 8 has also advanced with respect to construction and deployment of the company's third data center located in North Bay, Ontario. The building structure is complete. Okay, so that's great. Floors are being poured imminently and racking is expected to commence later in February 2022. So I'm guessing by the end of February, they should have that facility up and possibly getting, well, once you get racking installed, you still have to do electrical. And then after that, they can get the miners installed. So that's good news there. Let's see what else did they write here. So our team is working hard deploying additional miners between our two Alberta-based sites, increasing overall efficiency and hash rate using existing capacity, said Jason Zalewski, head of technology of Hut 8. Our goal is to always utilize the most efficient miners we have, and we have been receiving and fully deploying our micro BT units as they arrive, which speaks to the commitment and capability of our team on the ground here in Alberta. So that is good to hear as well. Okay, so let's get into first. We'll go into Hut 8 numbers, and then we'll come back. We'll look at the DMG announcement. We'll get back into their numbers here. So for Hut 8, here's what we have on them. I have them now basically at 2.14 exahash, which I am not including the 325 that was petahash reported for their GPU mining. The way that they are doing the equivalence is basically whatever they earned in Ethereum, they converted it to Bitcoin, and from that they would figure out what the petahash was basically roughly at. I think this is going to be obviously lower because obviously the price of Ethereum has gone down. So it's not going to be equivalent to 325 petahash, but maybe closer to 200 petahash. The price of Ethereum has gone down like 28% in the month from the beginning of January to the end of January. So that's why I'm saying it's possibly down to like 250, 225 or something like that, down basically 30% or so down from here. So that would get us up to the 2.3 roughly that they're saying that they're at right now. Okay, so with that caveat out of the way, now let's take a look at some other numbers here. So I had them take out these numbers. These were the old black boxes. They had the, I don't even know which, they had obviously the Clarks, BitFlurry Clarks in there, and those were supposedly 70 terahash. So we got rid of those. Basically, I could possibly put this in that they were in for maybe 10 days at most if they were being changed out. They had 1,500 of them. I calculated that they were possibly putting in around, I think it was 242. Where did I put that? Here it is. So I calculated how much they put in as far as the miners are reported. They reported 6,000. What did they report? 6,317 were installed. So I calculated that part of it, the 5,800, to being like 242 installed every working day, like 6 days a week. So 24 days, roughly, those were getting installed. Here's how I calculated what they could possibly be earning for that month for January. So I came up with 2.6. I have them at possibly, where are those? The 5. I have those at 2.537. So basically 20 days. If I make it 21 days, it goes up to 2.664. So I'd rather decide on the lower end here, say I have them at 20 days, basically running on average for those miners that were being installed, along with these 517 here roughly, to get us to the exahash and the numbers of miners being installed and everything else. So those are also running at about 20 days on average. So that's the figure here. So these numbers are in Canadian. I've also updated the, what did I update here? Updated the earnings from the GPU miners. I took it down 30, basically 27%. I took it down 27% from December's numbers because obviously Ethereum is way down about 30%. So I took that down and made that 1.5 million here. If anybody has any better numbers, I would love to see those. And then hosting revenue, I just left it as it was at 800,000. Didn't touch that. So we're looking at, for the total of the month, we are at about 16.8 million Canadian dollars. That would translate to 13.3 USD dollars on it. And if we look at their current hash rate to future hash rate, they are about 66.81% installed. I know they want to get up higher, but they haven't provided any details as far as which miners they're going to be buying or how many. So when that gets provided to us, I'll obviously update the spreadsheet and it'll be here. And also, if you're interested in the spreadsheet, I do provide it to my Patreon members, so you can check that out if you're interested there as well. So right now I have basically 325 petahash for the GPUs, but I think it's lower than that. I think it's going to be closer to like 225, so we'll put that in as 225. So that's still a little bit higher than what they're reporting. They reported 2.36. That would have to get us down to about 200 or so, based on the information plus, yeah. So I'm a little bit higher on that. I'm trying to figure this stuff out still, see what makes sense here on it at 2.36. Let me see here. I got 2.14. Why am I showing 2.254 here? Monthly stats. Let's see, is that playing from somebody else? Oh, down here. So future would be higher, obviously. Oh, because I haven't taken out these here. Okay, I see what's going on here. So really what I need to do is set these up to basically be 0, and then that'll change. Oop. Let's do that. That's fine. The wonders of math and spreadsheets. Change one little thing and it messes everything up here. Let's see, so did that change? No, it's still showing up 2.253. Where is that getting that number from? February. February number. Why isn't that pulling that in? Miners, petahash. Oh, I'm not checking it. Okay. So it's going by that times that. Okay. So we'll get this fixed. So 0, there we go. 0. Bear with me. We'll fix this in live. This is the fun part where something breaks on you and it takes a couple seconds to get it fixed. So thank you for bearing with me here. Okay, there we go. Now we got this fixed. So now we're closer to what they are actually reporting here. Let's take a look at it here. 2.36, perfect. So that gets us right to where they are reporting, right? 2.36, excellent. Okay, so now we got it exactly where they're saying they are at. So 63% operational. Number of miners is roughly around 24,000 miners. Hash average per miner is 89,000 or 89 terahash, which is good. The other thing that I've added here, obviously, was the Hot 8 Bitcoin HODL analysis. So we're looking at the market cap minus, if you look at the market cap on them is basically 1 billion. So market cap minus HODL position is about 270 million. That brings us down to 746 million. Their ASIC value, I'm taking the number of miners here times 7,000 on average, just like a resale price on the miners. And then we're subtracting it from the number here to get 578 million basically is where the investment in their hash rate is basically. So that is basically 3.6 times their earnings here, which I think is so far the highest one that I've seen here, which is pretty good. So you also have to account for their facilities. So buildings, electrical infrastructure, all of that would go into account into that to basically figure out the fair market value of them, what it is if they were to be bought out by somebody or sold. And I'm coming up that it's basically still pretty well undervalued in my opinion based on where they are, considering it's basically like a price to earnings multiple of 3, if anything, if this is the way it looks at. So I have them at 1341 using the price to earnings multiple of 20, 75% net income from gross income, which right now would be 157 million if everything stayed the same. On net, what else can I show you guys here? Oh, the last 3 quarters plus this quarter, which is January, February, March. Last 3 quarters include the 3 prior quarters in 2021. We're looking at a combined possibility of income of 140 million roughly. I think as they get more miners in, that is going to increase unless Bitcoin starts to going down. So I have them at 50% price to earnings multiple of 20. They would be at 795, so still undervalued. And then the 75% net income price to earnings multiple of 20, they'd be 1193. But yeah, so undervalued in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of this. There isn't much else to show here. Obviously, they did increase on their Bitcoins mined during January to 308. That was an increase of 32 more Bitcoins mined than the prior month, and that's basically 11.5% increase in that. Yeah, I think that's it. So let me know what you guys think on that one. Let's take a look at DMG really quick, and then we'll look at the DMG numbers, and we'll call it a day, at least for this video. So let's take a look at DMG here. So DMG provided their update via Twitter, so you have to be basically following them to get the information. But here's what they provided. So key January 2022 statistics, BTC mined was 64.94. Daily average, they're mining about 2.09 Bitcoins. Hash rate added was 80 petahash in January, which is pretty good for them. They are a small miner. Miners added 773, and then the hash rate right now is average at 500 petahash. So let's take a look at their numbers here. So if we look at DMG, they are reporting that they are at 500 petahash, which is what I have them at right now. They do, let me see here, 5,500 miners or so. Can't remember if they reported how many miners they, nope, didn't report it. But I have them at 5,503 miners being installed. And then the ones that got installed this month are basically these here, which I did the same thing with them, taking in, 6 days a week, getting the miners installed, and then getting the average to be about 20 days on average being running or income based on that. So those, and then we got these over here as well. Those are the 90 terahash. So we got some obviously 100 terahash miners being installed, about 600 of those. We got 134 of the 90, and then we also added here the 39 of the 93 terahash miners installed as well. This brings us up to possible income of 3.1 million for the month for January. And if we look at their, I got to update this to DMG. I keep copying stuff over. DMG. Okay, so DMG doesn't obviously hodl anything. They haven't reported that they hodl anything. I think they basically sell everything that they mine to fund their operations and to increase their hash rate. But they have a market cap of 75 million right now. So market cap minus hodl, 0 hodl, still gives us that. ASIC value is about 38 million based on the number of miners that they have times 7,000 per each miner roughly. That gives us 38 million. So the remaining million is basically 36 million in for hash rate, what they're mining, what they're making. And the funny thing is they're actually making 35 million right now. So to me, they're way undervalued in my opinion. Then we're getting a price to earnings future earnings of 0.25, which is just ridiculous to me. Obviously, there are the smaller miners out there. I'm sure there's other ones that are even smaller than them, but the ones that I cover here, they're one of the smallest ones here, along with DigiHost. But looking at that, it's hard to get love, obviously, from investors when your future hash rate is only going to be 1.5 exahash. So that's the tough part. So we're seeing that obviously in the stock price being reflected by the low hash rate. So it is what it is. But if all things were fair in life and in this world investing, they would be a lot higher. They should be closer to, by the end of the year, at least around 304. And I think we can possibly go down a little bit on them. Even at 10 multiple, that would be $1.52. So 30%, was that 2x increase, 3x increase from the current stock price of 43 cents. And they should be at $1.07 at the very least, I would think. So it's still way undervalued, but obviously not everything is equal in this world. So that is that. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, the one thing that was kind of obviously disappointing here was they did mine less Bitcoin than they did in December. I think that is basically because the Bitcoin price has gone up, and or Bitcoin price has come down, Bitcoin hash rate has gone down. So that's the reason for that. They weren't able to keep up with obviously the increase in hash rate to get above it to mine at least at the very same amount or more. So we're seeing that obviously. That's why I keep saying this is pretty much a war between all of these miners here to get as many miners as they can install to basically outpace the rate of hash rate increase in the Bitcoin network. Yeah, so that's it. Pretty easy coverage here. They are 32% operational right now, and they do average 90 terahash per miner, which is pretty good considering how small they are. So they do have a pretty good fleet of miners right now installed. They did buy a lot of the 100 terahash, 900 terahash, 90 terahash, sorry, and 93 terahash miners, along with 140 terahash miners that are coming in later this year and into next year. So they are still going to be growing, but just slowly. And I think when Bitcoin rebounds, they will obviously appreciate in price as well and possibly get to the numbers that we have here for them. So that is it. Let me know what you guys thought of all the numbers. Obviously, a lot of numbers, as always. Try to do my best to get you guys accurate data. When I don't have accurate data, I'll let you guys know that I don't have accurate data. Something that I'm trying to figure out as well. And if you guys have better data, send me a comment down below. Love talking to you guys there. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell helps me out tremendously. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great day. Until then, bye.